Hi, Deacon John Wilson here, as you know, Education Enrichment Director for West Angeles Church. And I'm here in the little discussion I want to have with a very important lady in the area of enrichment. She is I have about 3 people that had I not interacted with them, we wouldn't have the program the way I know it today. I could say a lot about that. In that sense, kind of a 1/3 mentor of me. I definitely do admire what she had done. When I got to her, she was already successful. And that's none other than Elaine Moore, who is the founder, I believe. She may not admit that. I don't know. See what she says. A project success at El Camino, which continues to this day. And that's the test. If you find, that's what I'm afraid. I founded my program here. I'm working hard, y'all know, to make sure when I move on and retire that there's something here in this program. But she's done it. It's still there. I still send 10 students a year through that program. I think of her all the time. And now she's involved with a great program we'll talk about in a minute. But Elaine, talk about back in those. Hi, Elaine, first of all.
Greetings.
Talk about back in the day when you first started Project Success. What were you thinking?
Oh, that was quite a long time ago.
Long time for me too, so you know what I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Yes, it was quite a long time ago, and I was observing I was working as a counselor at El Camino Community College.
Oh.
And that I noticed that I'd been there about 5 or 6 years, and I noticed that the African American students were not succeeding at the rate that the white and the Asian students were. And so I called together the African American counselors at that time, and we discussed this, and they came up with some ideas of what we can do. And I thought we should have a support program, and we talked about some elements that we think could really enrich and help our students be more successful at the community college and at a 4-year college. And I said, well, this program needs to be developed, and we need a leader. And I said, well, who'd like to lead a program? And we didn't have permission from anybody, the administrators, anyone. And there were crickets. And I said, okay, well, I'll start a program. And we started it, of course, with the help of the African American counselors. We started with no money, no time, right, but with the desire to help the students. This was in 1987.
I knew it was about then.
1987. And as time went on, and we, on our own time and through our own efforts, we showed the college, we showed the administration that we could be successful. They began to give us time to work on the project. They gave us time to and some financial support as well. And so we developed a whole program targeting African American students, open to all, with the counseling, ongoing counseling, mentoring, study skills. We connected classes with the program. And we work with students from the beginning. Mostly our students were right out of high school, gave them the support that they needed until they graduated or transferred on to a 4-year university. And the program has been going on continuously since 1987. Yeah. And it became a model, one of the models for the Umoja community, which is now statewide, serving, at last I heard, about 70 community colleges and 4 or 5 community colleges beginning in the state of Washington. So it has.
Oh, so I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
So the Umoja community has grown. I was a part of the Umoja community, and we set up certain standards based on, again, Project Success and the program at Chabot College in Northern California, which had a similar type of program to Project Success.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, and other input. We developed educational philosophy and standards, and come together. It's just grown into a humongous program. I was one of the founders of that program, along with several others, and was on the board for the first few years. And I retired from Umoja, Project Success, El Camino College.
Officially when though? But
officially, because once I retired from El Camino, I continued working part-time. Officially, I've probably been officially retired maybe about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and it wasn't that
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, it hasn't been too long.
No,
But
no. So
enjoying
talk about these partnerships with the two-year colleges and how you've gotten guaranteed admission. It seemed like I didn't hear a lot
okay.
about that until you kind of showed up. I kind of learned about all that through you when you were making noise about it.
Yes. Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm a graduate of an HBCU, Howard University, and I loved my experience there with the nurturing and encouraging environment, the African-American role models, and just being in the atmosphere of other brilliant African-American folks who were like focused and sharp. And going to Howard, I says, no way white people could be any smarter than the people here. It's just not possible. And then I've gone on and taken graduate courses at, of course, USC, Long Beach, Dominguez, and many other schools. And I've found that no, they certainly are not.
Yeah, you figured that out.
Yeah, that certainly are not. But while and knowing the advantage of the HBCU experience in life, I wanted to introduce and really connect students, introduce students to HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. Many times they've never heard of a historically Black college and university, or they might know of 2 or 3, and they'll say, well, maybe they're about 5, and when in fact there are 101. So also while I was at El Camino, I began reaching out to some of the HBCUs and working to develop articulation agreements with several of the schools. I started on my sabbatical, actually taking our core courses, general ed, and matching those up with the general ed at some of the, what I think it started with about 5 HBCUs, the schools in the Atlanta area, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta, Morris Brown.
You started there, yeah.
And with Howard. So that's what I worked with on my first sabbatical. Matching classes so that students at El Camino could take courses and not lose credit. And that involved meeting with a lot of deans and articulation people at the HBCUs. At the second sabbatical, I have developed guide sheets so students at El Camino could follow the guide sheets and transfer HBCUs. Also at El Camino, we had started having Black college fairs on the campus, again, to expose the students to Black colleges. And we had, through Project Success, we did a lot of fundraising. We had offered scholarships every year for our El Camino college students. And one or more, well, usually about 3 or 4, we would have designated for students to go on the Black college tour, again, for students, to expose students to historically Black colleges and universities. So as time progressed, I continued working with some of the HBCUs, working with El Camino and developing transfer agreements, signed transfer agreements, then also training other colleges and other counselors at other community colleges were interested. And so I would work with them and show them what we were doing at El Camino.
Yeah, I met some of them that met you. And I was like, I would hear your name and go, oh, that's how you figured it out. Okay.
So I said, this is what we're doing at El Camino, and this could be replicated here, at Santa Monica or wherever they were working. And so it came to the attention of the chancellor's office in Sacramento. And so a grant was presented, and then anybody could sign for, could write for and compete to get this particular grant. And it was to develop more of a statewide system, to develop something statewide where all the community colleges could take advantage of having a partnership, similar to the partnerships that community colleges have with the Cal State and the UC system, which I kind of used as a model. So I wrote for the grant, and Angie Eke, who you referred to me, was working. She finished college and she was working at El Camino. She finished El Camino, she finished Dominguez, and she was working at El Camino. She actually helped on that project as well. She was a tremendous help with us. And we went for the grant. We had some great grant writers there at El Camino, and El Camino College got the grant. So I was hired. This is just as I retired from El Camino College as a counselor, coordinator, and instructor. And I was the first director of the program. So I was able to develop with a great committee, was able to develop a California Community College transfer guarantee to HBCUs with 9 historically Black colleges and universities.
That was amazing, and it's still in work.
It's still in process.
That was amazing. You were the only horse in town doing that for a long time.
Uh, yes, but encouraging other people to get on board
I know,
as well.
I know.
Yeah,
I was sending them through you. That's why I know.
yeah. We started with 9, and now they are up to. They were up to 39, but they just added 4 more colleges to the transfer agreement,
Yeah,
and
there's a
they
lot
just
of them.
added Morehouse, Alabama, Albany State. I'm
I was
sorry.
really happy that Morehouse finally jumped on. You know, they're
Finally,
kind
yes,
of mysterious with transfers. You know,
right.
we're something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad. What's the other
Yeah.
school?
Albany State,
Albany
Jackson
State,
State,
Okay.
and Morris Brown College.
Morris
So
Brown.
they're
Okay,
up
they're back,
to yeah. So they're really back. They're really up now to 43. So the process makes it easier for community college students to transfer seamlessly and to make sure that their courses are fully transferable. And they have other things in place to assist them at the colleges when they transfer. And now our governor, Gavin Newsom, has signed a bill 1400 that students transferring from community colleges can get up to $5,000 if they transfer to one of the HBCU community college partners. And I think,
oh yeah, did that pass? By the way, I lost track of it.
I believe it has passed. That's my understanding that it passed.
I just hadn't thought about it for a few months.
Yeah, so that's that, and then they're developing some other transfer scholarships that students can take advantage of. I know they have one at El Camino. They also have a statewide one for communication majors, and there's also one that my family is doing. The students, community college students, can pick up at the Black College Summit.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I would have not thought to bring it up, and this is going to be a good way to transition into that. But before we do, I need to tell you that you've also had a great effect on students that I sent to you for other transfer needs. I can't even get into all those that you've moved along, but some that work for you. Remember young Ashley, she's now a lawyer.
Really? I'm not surprised. Brilliant.
Me neither.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And she got me to say to you and say to people listening that thanks to her, El Camino is my favorite college when a student has gone to 4-year, not to wish this on your parents, and it hasn't worked out. I always try to send them to El Camino. And she used to take care of them. And now Brian and Nikki are doing it.
Yes,
it's
a great job.
They pick that up, and kids they get reborn. It's the most amazing thing. And Ashley's our most known one. We had her working for you, and
you sure did.
You would work 3 hours for me, run down 3 hours for you. It was crazy. And I tried to prove that. I was like, Bishop, really? He said, why wouldn't I do that? This looks like a good program.
Yeah.
And then he would ask about your program periodically. That's still happening? Is that still happening? You know, keep me informed, he would say. He would always say that. But I just wanted to hit that part. So at the fair that's upcoming, I see that it seemed to be a push to encourage transfers, and I am doing that heavy. Right now I'm tracking 7 that are transferring in, and I've actually have specifically mentioned the fair to them as one of their alternatives. And I talked to the parent and wanted to show her how it could be done, and change the way she looked at colleges, etc. But talk about that. I seem to see something about transfers and about what you mentioned a moment ago about the scholarship. And that's something that they should know. So transfer students should come to the fair, right?
Yes, absolutely. Community college transfer students should really come to the fair because of the incentives of the scholarships, for sure. And that's why actually the representatives, there will be about 20 of them actually from their own campuses. These are our admissions directors and admissions recruiters.
I'm so glad that you pushed for that. And somebody pushed what we have now. You're having people from the campuses a lot. Okay, good.
Right, they're coming directly from the campuses.
I like
and let me say this is our focus is community college, but also high school students as
high school
well.
Students, go ahead.
And yes, and in some cases they're admitting juniors as well as seniors. I don't know how that works, but some of the schools are doing that. I guess they see a really great student, they give them early admissions consideration, which I think is fantastic. So that is being available. But the group that's coming, the 20 HBCU officials from the schools are actually on a tour. They're visiting a California tour. They're visiting a number of community colleges to, again, they're here.
Oh, they travel as a group, like the
They travel as a group.
Christian colleges do that already. Yeah.
Yes, they're traveling as a group. They're on tour and
Nice.
they're hitting different community colleges. They're having fairs, giving workshops. In many cases, the community colleges open it up and have the nearby high schools come on campus as well to talk to the HBCU recruiters. And we're blessed in that our church is offering them a space and an opportunity to come.
Yeah, that's unprecedented.
Yeah, so we're very excited about
That's
that.
Exclusive for you.
Yeah. We've been doing it actually for the
You've
last
been doing the fair,
4 or
but
5
you
years.
got this traveling band going there.
Right, and it makes it easy, nice for us because they all come on one bus, and they can set up. And like I said, we've been doing this for the last few years since they've been doing the caravan. They call it the caravan, the HBCU caravan, and that's Dr. Helen Young and Dr. Karen McCord, and the new director now is Dr. Erin Azul Settle. She is the new director, a young woman who used to work with us. And so they're,
yes, okay, go ahead.
And so they're traveling, like I said, they're going, I think, north, and yes, and they're heading down, and they'll be at our church, Holman United Methodist Church, October the 25th from 5 to 7. They'll be there, students, high school students and community college students to come. Bring at least 5 copies of your high school and community college transcript. High school students should bring the test scores as well, and an opportunity, like I said, to meet with the reps and even in some cases complete applications.
Good point. Yeah, I'll make sure I make that point heavy. And down in the description, I'll put a link to our site where we have the RSVP so we can know who's going, and also your form you sent there.
Yes,
and
we would
I'll link your flyer
too.
There's a flyer, all that. We'll link all that down below.
Oh, great,
and on the screen, I've been knowing me, I have along the bottom the different information you're saying too. We really want to move this hard. This next week we have to push it and let sure people know about it.
Right. Appreciate that.
There was something else about that fair. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, are you just going to have just a straight up fair, or will they speak at all? Just be the fair, right?
It will be the fair. However, we will also have a scholarship workshop.
Okay, talk about that.
But yes, we're going to have 2 scholarship workshops, one at 5:15 and the other one at 6 o'clock. It's going to be in our choir room. And we're going to have 2 young people, one who's talking about how I think she got over $100,000 worth of scholarship money. And the young man received some money for scholarships, but he knows he could have done more. So he's going to talk about if he had to do it all over again, this is what he would do. And we're going to have a parent also talk about what parents how they can assist their students and encourage them to apply for scholarships.
All right, that alone, I'm going to be at that workshop. That alone, parents, I need you to go to this fair. Okay. Yeah, nothing's happening during the week. You should go. I need you to be, as I said before, your parents know who come to my meetings. I need a curiosity these days about college, because you really have to look around and match up. My transfer parents, my transfer students, I thought that's why you went to 2-year to cut the cost, but now there's opportunities for scholarships. I really think that that's why I've changed a lot of my thinking about Black colleges, and I think it is something we should consider. I think also you're going to find it easier to find your values there, parents, than ever before in Black college, with all the craziness in some of these schools. I'll leave that alone. I don't want to get political in this video, but that's another thing, parents, as well. Anything I missed? Well,
a couple of things I want to say. Historically, Black colleges and universities, the cost typically, I'm not saying they're inexpensive, they're not, but the cost typically is less than it costs to go to other universities. So
it is in general.
Yes.
If they have decent grades, can be better sometimes, believe it or not. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you have the classes are smaller. You don't have to deal with auditorium style classes. And what I just was reading recently, the number and percentage of European or Caucasian students is rising.
Yeah, it's starting to go there.
At HBCU.
Which might be
so the secret is out.
The
secret is out. So really there's it's a tremendous value. You get a great education. There are high expectations at HBCUs, and they're getting more and more and more competitive.
Yeah, if you think about it, that's a good point. I mean, I'm probably picking on PWI privates a little bit, but not too much. I'm being nice. I'm not picking the ones that give a lot of financial aid. So I'm going to be aware of people hear that. But if you're going to spend, parents, you're willing to go 40,000 in debt a year for an NYU or Occidental or somewhere like that, you need to consider, keeping it low, keeping it 20,000 or so. And, and it's sometimes a better cost decision to at least be curious and look at this. So come to the fair. You need to come to that fair. I'm going to be there this year.
And you've been so supportive in the past.
I don't see anything stop me. I've been sending people there, but I don't see anything stopping me from going this year. And Brianna Bennett, my main college person, she'll be there too, because she don't know it. Shout out to Brianna. You learn how to take part of my job when I leave. So you need to be there. You need to be.
You got to have those proteges. So
she's going to probably be there, and young Christina, I think I'll have her there as well.
And I just want to say one thing, and I tell students to consider this. If you're thinking of considering going to an Ivy League for graduate school or for law school, it's a great thing to transfer or to start or go to an HBCU and work hard, because that's where the schools recruit. They go to the HBCUs to recruit.
Yeah, more and more they're doing that. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's I know my college, Howard, had a very strong link to Harvard, and I've had a few. Well, I can think of two off the top of my head that went from El Camino College to HBCUs on to Harvard for graduate school. So it can certainly be done. And I know many people have done that outside of El Camino College. So that's something to consider also.
Well, Sister Elaine, I want to thank you so much. I want to let you all, she has this great set of questions that you should consider before a fair. And you need to look at those for this fair. But I'm doing a separate video on that. I'll be shouting her out all over the place. I'm not taking full credit for that. I had a list, but it wasn't as good as hers. So I'm going to use her list. It's terrific. I'll say a little more about her in the fair when I do that video. And remember, you all are so good about subscribing. It's unbelievable what's happened there, and liking this channel. But if you like this type stuff, I'll keep doing it. And I want to thank Elaine for coming out and making this one a success. And thank you in advance for telling us about this great fair. Okay.
Well, thank you for having me. I really prize our relationship. We're working together to help. It's all about helping the students. Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to seeing your students. I love your students from West Bay. Over the years, they've been outstanding. I'm looking forward to seeing them next Wednesday, October the 25th at 5 o'clock after class, after work. We will see you. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you, Elaine.
All right.